We're live.
We are here.
Hi.
Welcome to If We Don't Laugh, We'll Die.
Subtitle,
Dumb bitch hour. That, I know we said we didn't want to be like morning radio talk shows, but I do feel like that needs like a noise that comes after. Dumb bitch hour! Yeah, just like
Pew, 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 pew.
like come in with like laser sounds and stuff.
Exactly. No, that would be a call-in show though. And then people would be like, oh, I've got my dumb bitch hour story to share, that'd be freaking hilarious.
With how unhinged our audience is, I feel as though we could not take calls live.
That's true. Because I think of them as being a lot like us, and I think of me calling on a college. Like the amount that I have to coach myself when I'm live on another creator's video, like when they're doing a live and I'm in their comments to like coach myself, it's like, okay, Khaki, like you don't have to comment on everything. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's exciting, but you don't have to make it about you kind of thing. It's like if it was a call-in show, I would be the worst.
Having done content for long enough, especially audio content, I think I'm good enough. Although I always worry that I swear without realizing it at this point. Like, as an adult who is not really around children, and like I also now don't work with people really, unless like it's like I maybe 15 minutes out of the day I have to worry about whether or not I'm swearing.
Right.
And, like,
oh no. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's just like so. Whenever I go on something and I drop an F-bomb, to me that's nothing. Mm-hmm. But I know that means a lot of money to other people if I'm dropping an F-bomb on television or something like that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, no, I when I got off of my antidepressants in April, that was like one of the first things that I noticed was that I just became a lot less inhibited. And like it was like I was, Teresa is dead. I was just like using the F word as commas. I was like, I gotta rein it in.
It's like I don't think I swear that much, but then I'm around my mom and then immediately it's like, why'd you have to say it like that?
That's okay. One of my favorite things about kind of like my family and also my husband's family is that I was like, can I curse around your mom? Because I've been in relationships where it was like completely not allowed, And he was like, oh, fuck yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, all right, cool.
It's like a generational thing. Like, I think my mom, well, yes, there's so many generational things that I feel like my parents don't understand, but swearing is one of them. But I love it. My mom will sometimes swear in front of me, and then she'll be like, I'm sorry. I was being too emotional. And I'm like, it's fine.
Emotional!
Yeah.
No, okay, so like my dad had the most killer turn of phrase. And so like I think that there's kind of this like percussive quality to certain curse words that just lends a really cool emphasis to a conversation. I don't think that that's like that weird of a thought to have, Like I think that like when you're expressing yourself, sometimes an F-bomb is like really important.
I agree, because it's just like it's how I speak, it's just but if I was trying to, whenever I say flying fart on my channel, it's explicitly because I know I can't swear too much on my channel or it's gonna come back to bite me in the ass. So
like if I have to censor myself and say like you told me to F off instead of saying fuck off, like it's just like
me.
not, it hurts. I'm just like, oh, I'm at a deficit now, like fuck off, like that's the only way to say it.
It feels so infantile and I just can't do it. I simply cannot do it.
I dated a guy for 2.5 years who had never said a curse word before in his life. And he had every verbal gymnastics, just everything you could possibly think of to like get around it. And then when I broke up with him, he started cursing.
You did that to him.
It was your virginity too.
Oh, well, par for the course for this podcast so far. But
I'm not like other girls. I'm Satan.
That's merch. Forget art math. I'm not like other girls. I'm Satan is your merch.
I didn't make that up though. That's I've seen it on the internet. The attention that I got, I just hit myself in the face. The attention that I got today by posting Bimbos for Christ on a t-shirt. Everyone from you, Ted, Hindash, like everybody across the board was like, I require that shirt. And I think it's out of print from that company, so I'm like, maybe we have to make a Bimbos for Christ shirt.
I would love that. I bought Tiffany this shirt for their birthday. And do you know the artist Mitski?
Of course.
Yeah, so it's like, I forget exactly what it says, but
She
it's
can
like,
make me cry so hard.
local teens want Mitski, not Jesus.
Yes! And it's true! Oh my
It's true.
god. You should have seen me and my like old buddy Leslie. You know, we've known each other since 2009. Like, we just like stayed up late in my kitchen playing like Bright Eyes. You know what I mean? Just being like, oh, not that one. Oh no. Just hurting ourselves.
No. You know, I like to call that like emotional self-harm, like where it's like not a physical act, but it's just like you are not doing good things for yourself.
It's that meme of Lisa Simpson where it's like replaying the one part in that song because it didn't hurt me bad enough the first time.
Yes, me on a bridge of a song that gets me crying. Like,
speaking of Mitski, I mean, Your Best American Girl, like that song. Every time she hits the like distortion pedal, I'm like, ah!
That is, I remember the first time I heard that song, I was like, it started and I was like, I don't know why everyone's losing, and then it got to the chorus and I was like, like my head exploded out of the back.
It's too much. You're just like, how are so many feelings contained in this tiny person? She's amazing.
I saw her live and it was like a life-changing, affirming experience.
Yeah, I put that song on a playlist like back in this job that I totally hated, and it was like with oh goodness, Hop Along. Hop Along is another band that was like a female vocalist that will just absolutely destroy you. And it was just like song after song after song. Like, it was like, I plugged in a couple of those and Spotify was like, yo, if you like that, how about some shit that just cuts you straight to your fucking aorta? You know what I mean? Like, let's go. And I was just like, okay.
I love when Spotify takes me on the right journey, where it's like, and now this? And you're like, yes. And now this?
Yep, I'm just bleeding on the floor. It's fine.
Sometimes I'll be listening to really stupid pop and it's like, how stupid are you willing to get? And I'm like, pretty stupid, actually. Oh,
no. The best is when you skip a song and they're like, oh, okay, well, we'll go back to what we know you'll like. Hello, goodbye.
Yeah.
Just like, and I'm like, I'm taking that personally right now, but I'm not going to skip the Hello, Goodbye song.
It's been happening with me with Britney Spears recently, and I don't even listen to Britney Spears all that much, but every time it happens, I'm like, I'll stick around. I got time for you, Britney. I'm good. Yeah, I'm ready for this.
Exactly. It's like, oh, damn it, Spotify, you even knew something about me that I didn't know.
That is scary.
Yeah. That I will stick it out for pretty much any Hello Goodbye song, which I would not have said yes about myself, you know?
The other day, Spotify pulled out, and I haven't listened to the song in at least a decade, it pulled out Silver Linings by Rilo Kiley. And I was
Rilo Kiley.
I'm not familiar with the band, but I know that song, right? Like that was it made it on a mixtape at some point, and I was like, this song is everything. And I never bothered to follow the band further than that.
I cannot with Jenny Lewis. She only writes things that are so true that they hurt my guts, and I'll never forget them. And I have a high threshold for emotional pain. Like, she writes lyrics where you're just like, oh, yeah. I didn't want to think about that.
No, and Spotify did that to me as like out of a decade of dormance where this song just didn't exist in my brain, and It was like it started, and I was like, well, I can't stop. I have to see it. I have to see this through now.
Oh yeah, no, there's this song that my ex-boyfriend, you know, the one that I cried about on the Florida Band of Horses. He put as his MySpace song after I was trying to kind of get back with him because I was pathetic. It's this song by The Blow. You were out of my league. I was 20,000 underneath. Dude, fuck me up. Fuck me up. I was like, oh, I guess that's really it. I'm like 20, maybe, probably 19, you know, but like, yeah, message delivered, message received.
The absolute trauma of a top 8.
Ooh!
The kids will never know.
But the power also.
Oh, truly.
Taking somebody out of your top 8. Ooh, because it's public. It's like having your close friend's Instagram, but like taking someone out and everyone knowing.
If MySpace would have lasted long enough, there would have been like notifications when you start moving in and out of people's top 8. It's like a push notification. So it'd be like, this person removed you from your top 8.
Jeffree Star would have been too powerful. And he already is, but like his power on MySpace is terrifying. I don't want to get into Jeffree Star. I can't believe I just invoked him.
Listen, it happens sometimes where you say the name and you're like, ugh. And every time I say his name in a video and then there's like a million people that are leaving comments about it, I was like, I just, in passing, said his name. I'm so Sorry.
I have so many friends who have either been like, you know, tour merch people or driven tour buses that have stories. And let me tell you, nothing about him is good. Nothing about him from firsthand experience has ever been good. Even before the news came out, you know, however many years ago, people were like, don't touch that thing with a 10-foot pole. That's a problem.
I believe it.
Yeah.
He always had bad vibes to me, even when everyone loved him. I was like, I don't know about you.
Yeah. I do realize I just called him a thing, which I don't mean to dehumanize anybody, but don't touch the topic of.
Well, I think that's how I received it, but maybe that was good clarification.
Yeah, good clarification.
So we actually have a concept for this week's
video.
We do have a theme. 10 minutes of us just talking about Spotify failing it and just hurting us from the inside out. So we wanted to keep it light because we did it wasn't so heavy last week, but me and Kaki need a brain breather this week.
Bimbos for Christ.
So we wanted to do something light and fluffy. So we resource questions from the audience and maybe have some of our own questions. So we're just going to gently interview each other, but I'm sure we'll probably only get through 2 questions and then have elaborated on that for the whole
Exactly.
episode.
I was reading them. I was like, there's not that many. Then I was like, we could go off on one the whole time.
Exactly.
You know?
And I got looking at that many either. And I was just like, I have questions. I have questions if no one else does. So
yeah, I honestly feel like I have mined the hell out of my audience for so long where they're finally like, I don't have any more questions or confessions, Kaki. I told you everything.
You're like, I don't know what to talk about. You guys do the work while I start getting ready to film.
Right.
You're like, I just put it out there. You put on Prime and you're like, let's see what I got. I just like how now it's exclusively astrology. You're just doing astrology. And
I have to preface it every time, being like, I don't know what I'm talking about. Go buy Channy's book.
Meanwhile, every time I'm like, I'm not going to, but I'm going to wait for what Kaki says. And that'll be gospel.
The best is all the comments where they're like, oh, nailed it. Totally relatable. You got it. I feel that too. And I'm just like, what
also,
can I say?
Isn't that kind of the nature of astrology that you're supposed to be able to find yourself in it? So
yeah, absolutely.
So it's just hopefully, if you were saying something entirely unrelatable, that would be bad astrology.
Right. Yeah. So it needs. I mean, I say bad astrology because I want to set the expectation as low as possible. But yeah, I should call it cackstrology or something, just so that everybody knows it's just coming through this lens of duh. If you only knew that there's just a hamster barely running on a wheel between my ears.
With you, 100%. Also, I have not seen my ADHD qualities come out so vastly since people started moving out of my house and I needed to start doing things. I'm totally in the middle of doing holding something. I'm like, that thing needs done right. There's just stuff in the middle of my floor all through the house where I just got distracted by another thing.
I wrote a list of things that I needed to do today. That's how bad it is for me. I woke up this morning and I was like, if I don't write it down, I will forget. And then I'm not going to do anything today. And then as I was going through the day, I was like, I've accomplished nothing. And then I looked at my list and I was like, oh, I did these things that I wrote down. I just don't remember. I'm that scattered. I'm just like, I've accomplished nothing. Wait, I did accomplish these things. Maybe I just set my goals really low.
Have you ever had the moment where someone's like, what did you do today? And you're like, oh, nothing. And then you proceed to list 100 things. And then you're like, I'm not really tired, but I don't feel like I did anything today. And then the other person just looks at you with their jaw agape, like you did 7 days of work.
Oh, no.
One day.
I tried daily vlogging back in the day and it was exhausting. And I realized how I do the same thing every single day. And a friend of mine that I worked with, she was like, I watched one of your videos. How do you do so many things in one day? Well, you overcommit yourself, you buckle down, and you just muscle through. Do it. White knuckles. That's the vibe.
As you're crying.
Right, exactly. But to Mitski. So it's aesthetic crying.
It's crying with purpose.
Crying because I planned it. It was written in. It was already on the schedule.
The second I got this question, I knew I had to ask.
Ooh.
Buffalo Beauty Boy, Ted of Buffalo Beauty Boy asked.
I love that he went to both of ours.
Oh no!
This is gonna be the Ted show.
That's good. He asked, long Furbie or biblically accurate Furbie?
Okay, so this is part of Tedstrology. This is one of Ted's personas is long Furbie. And introduced me to the idea of a long Furbie. Are you familiar with what a long Furbie is?
I saw something really demented in one of your two stories, and I was like, and the other one was tagged. I don't remember where I saw it, but I was like, this is upsetting.
So yeah, it is like this art that people are making with, with these Furbies, basically like giving them like these, long bodies and things like that. And I'm just like, he's so into it. And I really admire that passion. But then one day he showed me biblically accurate Furby with all the eyes and all the wings and everything. And it said, be not afraid. And I was like, me. So I actually made, it's not a Furby one, but I have like a headdress that I made because I do a lot of like headpieces and stuff just in my spare time. And it's got the eyeballs all over it and the feathers and stuff.
Are they like googly eyes?
No, they were meant to light up, but then the hot glue got in the way. It was kind of a dry run.
Every crafter, but then the hot glue got in the way.
So like I could like deconstruct and get them to light up, but then like I wouldn't be able to access them to turn it back off again because I made little felt eyelids.
Okay,
because I had some spare time.
But you got nothing done that day, I'm sure.
No, and also I do actually sleep like 7.5 hours a night. I would have to say that I pick biblically accurate only if that means that like me and Ted get to like coexist, because I wouldn't want to steal his thunder as like Long Furby. Although I don't know if you saw this on my stories, but I also saw Bigfoot Barbie.
Am I Bigfoot Barbie?
Are you?
I have no idea. I need to get more into this lore to figure out where I land.
Because there are also Furbies with Barbie legs and things like that. Like, and you have to admit, like, well, you don't have to admit. No one has to admit, but
like, you have to admit. I don't know.
I have to admit that they're kind of cute and fascinating. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I see what you did there with mashing up my nostalgia and just being disturbing on purpose. You know what I mean? It's a little bit deliberately unhinged, and like I'm always here for especially because my promise on the front page of my Instagram is equal parts bougie and stupid. And sometimes I go so bougie that I really need some heavy stupid to balance it out, and like it serves the purpose.
At the time, Furbies were expensive. So that would have been a bougie and stupid.
And it's custom.
Yeah, it's custom Furby.
Custom Furby. So, Ted won my heart because Ted calls himself the fat third Olsen twin. It's like my favorite thing in the world.
Happiness.
and he goes, and then people like to say to me, don't you mean triplet? And he's like, look, fat third Olsen twin. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. That's Mike's Mike. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah. The girls who know.
The girls who know. I think in the spirit of that, I have to pull up Ted's question for you.
Okay. I know you're not a TikTok person, but I follow Mike's Mike on TikTok as well. And every now and then he'll make his account private. So if you're already following him, you still see all of his stuff.
Yeah.
And it gets just really unhinged for like a month. And then he goes back public and deletes all of the old stuff. It's like so great. It's so funny.
That's fantastic. It's real like me energy of just being like, I only want a certain amount of people to see this, but I have to get this out of my system.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Ted asked, Tom, beauty trend you would fight in a Chili's parking lot.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
This is tough. Self-tanner.
Oh, plot twist.
Well, listen, I've used self-tanner only a handful of times. It hasn't been that bad, but I've always done it wrong. Like I don't think I ever did it the right way.
I mean, Mikey of Glam and Gore has made a lifestyle, a brand really, of just doing it badly. So
I have like self-tanning drops that you would put like in your moisturizer, and I like never knew how many times I was supposed to do it and like how many drops. But one time it was like my third day in a row using it, and then at the end of the day I was like, I have made a great mistake, because I was like beautifully, it was like it looked nice, but then I like looked at my chest compared to it. I was like, my head is just like this floating tan thing. But also like I've always associated, and this is like not a commentary on anyone who self-tans, because a lot of people can do it successfully and they have like their method, but like a girl with a bad self-tan, that's who I'm fighting in a Chili's parking lot. So that it takes on the persona of like the 90s, early 2000s version of it.
Yeah.
That's what I would take. Like,
I just imagined her. Like, I just saw her
you
fully in my mind's eye. I know exactly who she is. She also, and this is offensive, okay? I'm just going to preface this by saying this is offensive, but she's got really, really obvious eyelash extensions. Like, the ones that just, like, are your whole face. And it's a vibe. It is, but that's what she has.
There are people who look like that and choose those choices that I love. Yep. And they make me very happy.
Exactly.
But also they will fight. They'll still fight me.
Exactly. You'll find a reason. There's something y'all need to freaking sort out. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And they're probably like long coffin nails.
The coffin, or the ones that do like this, like Trish Paytas has. Like,
how do you do anything with those? I've never had that shape. I don't know.
No, I think you have to ask specifically for it and then sign a waiver.
I will not hurt. I will not sue. It's not liable. The person who did this is not liable.
I'm clinically insane.
Oh my god, it is so weird. Every time I see it, I'm like, what are you doing? How are you doing anything?
It is on the level of flat earther in the sense of like just broad trolling, just like life trolling, just being like, you hate it, don't you?
It is. I mean, like I use Trisha Paytas as a specific example, and like they are just a walking troll. Like,
no, absolutely.
Does
they use they them pronouns?
She uses any pronouns, she said, but like most people have just landed on they with her because she did you miss when she came out as transgender?
I missed everything.
So fun fact about me is I will watch all the drama channels about every single thing. I know drama about food channels. I know I know it all. I like live for it. It's not something I tell people, but like I lose hours of my life to watching content. So I know everything about Trisha Paytas. And I've never, not one time, interacted with her content directly.
Right. It's always like someone commenting about her.
Absolutely.
Oh God.
Because she doesn't get any of the dollar. It's whoever's talking about it.
Interesting. So wait, tell me what's the story about them being transgender? Like,
no, it was a stunt. It was a stunt, but it was followed up later on. I think whenever they were doing that podcast with the guy from H3,
yes,
and then they were talking about how they they talked a little bit more about it, how like they didn't feel like they fell into like either gender, but and I think it's a conversation worth having that I don't think they were actually inciting, but it's like you can be gender nonconforming but still be very girly. Like still like and like they look very girly. You know, like it's I'm not having Trisha Paytas lead the conversation on these kinds of things. And that was like kind of what was happening. And it was like, no.
That's such a good way to put it, is it's like, look, you are free to have your journey, but there's something about the size of your platform that's entitling you to too large a portion of this conversation right now. You don't just get to hijack that from everyone else.
Any pronouns are okay. Most people still use she, her.
So you're fighting Trisha Paytas in a Chili's parking lot.
I am fighting Trisha Paytas in a Chili's parking lot. That's exactly who I'm fighting. But they're a parent now. I don't think I would.
Oh, that's right. I see. I completely. I miss literally everything about Trisha.
Oh, don't. You're gonna now start getting random updates about people you have no idea who they are. I'm like, you'll never believe, and you're gonna be like, I didn't even know they existed. I could learn more useful things like how audio, video editing. I can learn any of those things.
Good is such a strong word. It's carrying a lot of weight in this conversation. Yeah, because I could too, right? I could also clean this room.
My vanity's looking a lot like I imagine yours. There's just stuff everywhere right now.
I brought a present for you that I will save till the end.
Oh no.
little surprise.
Oh my. I'm excited.
Remind me so I don't forget.
Okay, I'll try.
Okay.
My Magic Emily would like to know.
We love you, Emily.
What colors, textures, etc. would you use to describe your present self?
Colors and textures. That's actually such a cool question because I do think about myself in those terms. Like, I'm just like.
Of course you do.
Well, because I think that like my personality is extraordinary, right? I think everybody should think that. And so
it's not a bad thing, but it is one of those things. But when you say it and people receive that, it's not always like, it's always just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
You're not supposed to think that. You're supposed to be self-deprecating.
Exactly. You're supposed to not be able to take a compliment. Like, no one knows how to deal with confident people. Like, that aren't like throwing their weight around, you know? It's like, no, I just think that I'm exceptionally cool and interesting. And so like I mean, so like textures, I think she's probably talking about like makeup.
I don't know, it's not specific. And you're a painter, so there's color and texture in that too.
So I definitely think of myself as a textured and layered person. So it would be like, you know, something that's in like that rice paper texture, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Or not, yeah, like you have like on a spring roll, like it's just so satisfying and unique, and you don't know why, and you're just like, I just like touching it.
I know exactly. That's like, ooh, oh, I know exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
There used to be this dish at a place in Austin. I mean, there probably still is. I just don't live there. In Austin, that was like this. At this place, Elizabeth Street, that was like, they really had the guts to like make the largest rice paper thing ever, and then that was what they wrapped the whole dish in, and everybody's like, it's too much weird mochi gummy stuff, and I was like, it's perfect. I love it so much. I just want to feel that while I'm eating it. It was awesome. So that would probably be the texture, and honestly, I think I'm feeling like really exposed right now. Like, that's been the word that I have like been most describing myself, like my whole feeling of like life with lately, is that I feel overexposed, because like it was just Aries season, and I just have this like urge, right, to just be like fully myself as much as I possibly can, and like share as much as I can and everything. And then I will get like these kind of like overexposed feelings, and I feel like I need to just like delete everything, and you know what I mean, and just kind of like turn tail and just like, you know, but that never really lasts that long. But I do feel like that kind of like opaque stretchiness of like a really, you know, like a good rice paper roll, like that's actually how I would describe myself right now. It's kind of clear, opaque, and also satisfyingly stretchy. That's
my favorite color. Sheer.
Exactly, because we have to what?
To get our bodies
to the people. I hope that that's satisfying, but honestly, if it's Emily, she's probably like, I didn't have an answer in mind. I wanted to know what you would think. You know what I mean? I want to get the freaking weirdness.
She did preface it, which I didn't say. It said going abstract.
Nice. So, excellent. Yes. Okay. Wonderful. My Magic Emily asks me.
Here's that crossover that we're always talking about. I wonder if any people that ever are new to either one of our channels are like, why are they always talking about the other one as if we have to watch both? And I'm like, well, it's kind of like that now. It's like mandatory to watch both of our content.
We're like sibling channels.
Yeah, we're the Untucked for both channels, right? You're like my Untucked, and I'm your Untucked. It's like you have to get the full story. You have to go to the other person's
And now
channel.
we have the podcast where you get to hear about like the pre-workout. Honestly, the pre-workout thing in the last episode, I was crying just rewatching it. It was so fucking funny.
And then I just sent you me groaning after I worked out the one day. I was just like, ah! And I just sent you my stats from the workout. I was like, she asked for this.
Oh, no. Yeah. And now, what's hilarious is that Tom and I actually had, for the longest time, only messaged each other on Instagram. And then I was like, well, you know, we got this podcast and everything. Like, let's just, you know, get on text, too. Like, you've never exchanged numbers. And now it's just, like, chaos. You know what I mean? It's just everywhere all the time. I'm awake. Like, let's fucking go. You know? Like, I think I've gotten a text from you that's like, I'm awake.
Yes.
It's like the best thing ever.
I'm always in the early morning. That's the best, because I feel like we're the only two people in the world awake at the hours that we're awake. So it's just like, let's go,
dude. I when I went on that creator trip, I was like radio silent pretty much to everybody else. Like, I didn't catch anybody up on text message or anything that's like not in that world. And then the only conversation I feel like I had was just like sitting there my first morning. I was like, hey, Tom. I'm the first one awake, sitting here on a porch. I'm going to tell you about my weird, complicated musings about being in Charleston by myself right now, drinking some coffee that I think I stole from somebody because, like, it was the only iced coffee in the refrigerator.
Come of that?
Apparently, the hotel that Simbri and Hannah had stayed in the night before had given them to them, and they just like threw them in the fridge. So that's why there was like one black coffee, like, you know, just nothing in it, and then one like, you know, sweetened cold brew or whatever. And I just drank the sweetened cold brew. And she's like, it's fine. So it's not a very climactic story, but
I wish there was. What if that was the drama of the creator and friends trip? Because people
I would
were
love
trying
to
to
say that there was drama, but there wasn't. I even got this nice necklace from Jamie Walsh.
I was just watching your story about it. It's very cute.
It's so lovely. I loved it so much. So yeah, she sent this to me. She's lovely. Glam Latte on Instagram and on YouTube. She's a delight. So
I'll have to follow.
Yeah, I know. I love how disappointing it was to everybody who wanted it to be problematic.
People were asking me what was going on. I was like, I don't know.
What's going on? A bunch of people who have worked hard to make this their career decided that there aren't really conferences for us to be able to commingle and collaborate. Right. And so we were like, this sounds fun. Let's do that.
But honestly, even like as it was going on, I didn't really like, how am I a resource? Of course I was like talking to you, but I wasn't like going, how's your trip?
No, you're like Khaki stole an iced coffee from the fridge, and it could be a problem.
It could be, yeah. That was like that was I didn't give that tea, but it was the only tea I had.
Yeah, exactly. Khaki's awake early as usual. Is that what you wanted to know? Yeah. No, I'm not going to say we're boring. I don't think we're boring people.
No,
but like we're like,
no drama.
Yeah, no drama. Like we're just kind of trying to vibe. Like we were just having a nice time. So yeah, I think this is a really good question.
Okay.
She says, "Tell me, a person who feels mostly neutral about Beyonce, why she is queen above all others." I want to know too.
Oh, well, I think there's a I first, before we jump into this, I love Beyonce, but I don't put her on a pedestal that I think that a lot of other people see. Like Beyonce is some people's it's everything. And like, yes, did I pay a lot of money to go see Beyonce this summer? Yeah, I did. But like for me, a concert in the back, it's just not happening. Like, I don't do that.
It's
like,
all or nothing.
Exactly. And like for Beyonce, all is just a lot more than most of the other all-ins that I would like go to a concert. Right. Most of the people I like to see are in small venues, and it's just a matter of like general admission, and like that's mostly what I do. So, but like Beyonce, it's like you're gonna pay a lot of money if that's what you want to do. Like if you want to be like in it.
Well, there you go.
I think that's something that's really important to remember, and I think that perhaps like white people don't think about this, and I'm just, I'm guessing. But like Beyonce is a Black woman who is like at the top and has like consistently been at the top, and I think that's really important to a lot of people. It's not to say that she doesn't have flaws, and like there aren't moments where you could look at and be like, Beyonce could be doing more for the community in XYZ way, or like in many communities in XYZ way. But I just think Z Way. It's a great show.
I love Z Way.
I like her, and I also think that for me personally, Beyonce's music has changed a lot throughout her career, and I was not interested in Beyonce until she released the self-titled album.
Really?
And so yeah, I'm like, before that, I don't really care about Destiny's Child, and I don't really care about any of the albums that came before self-titled.
Spice Girls really took up too much room in your consciousness to be caring that much about Destiny's Child.
Right, yeah, absolutely. And but also like Evanescence then came not that long after. And
that's kind of like a hard left,
Yeah. And also like for me personally, like I was raised in a household where like, we weren't like exposed, and I'm doing this all in air quotes in case you happen to just be listening, like urban culture was not something I was really exposed to, and I couldn't see myself in or find myself in that. Right. So like for me, like three Black women, well, I wasn't like opposed to it. It wasn't like something that I like saw the same value in it as some other people did. And then as the music progressed, it didn't matter to me. And then self-titled drop, and I was like, I see what's happening, and I like it, because I felt like it was the first time that, I don't know if it was like a matter of like means of control that she had over her career, but there's like a distinct difference between like what has happened since then, like with Lemonade, and then also with Renaissance, which is like house music, which is like she's never done before. And so it's like really exciting to like see someone do these things, but it still feels like Beyonce. And I think that a lot of people really like connect to that and like have a lot of respect for that. And also like the thing about Beyonce that I respect the most is that we don't know what's going on in her life until she tells us.
That's
And
so
that's like,
true.
that's we have so much access to so many people. And while Beyonce does post just pictures of her on Instagram, no caption, just like, I looked pretty. Like, you know, it's just like she was just at a thing and she just looked pretty.
It's interesting because, like, from the outside, like, I am not a huge Beyonce fan. Like, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of my friends are really, really into her music, and I'll be honest, like, I like her. It's kind of like Lady Gaga. Like, I'm a huge fan of her.
Yeah.
I like listening to interviews with her. I like, I like her style. I like her ideas. I watched that documentary and I thought it was awesome. You know what I mean? Just listening to her talk, seeing the way that she approaches life. But like, her music doesn't really grip me. And like, honestly, most of Lady Gaga's music doesn't really grip me, but I think
Mm-hmm.
she's a really, really awesome person. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
follow her with interest because I just think what she does is cool. And so it is interesting to hear you say that like people don't really have that much access to her, because I'm like, from where I was sitting, I thought it was just me. I thought that like maybe I didn't know what the right like source was, but like,
No,
yeah,
no.
she's got a
It's
real
like,
lock on it.
she does. Like, what she filmed all of this stuff in public for her self-titled album, and we didn't know that it was coming until at midnight. She was like, "It's here," and that's why everyone was like, "What?"
That's amazing.
And it dropped with visuals too, and so everyone was just like, we didn't even, what's going on?" So I just think she's like really. And then everyone after that tried to do just like a drop because Beyonce did it.
Right.
But it was just like she was primed and ready, and like she knew that it was gonna work for her.
Yeah.
And she just puts. I also recommend watching. It is a long watch, but just watching the Coachella performance, like the Homecoming on Netflix, you can see how much. Yeah, she just the way she works so hard. She worked for like 8 months to do 2 nights of performances.
Yep. Exactly. I respect the heck out of anybody who has a vision that they like, and they're kind of that creative. Like I know that, we talk about artists and we kind of associate artists with creativity, right? It's like, oh, but like, I feel like when we were, this might just be my own perception, but I feel like when we were kids, like aside from maybe the very biggest stars, you didn't see a lot of people talking about their inspiration as it translated to their career, and then it just being like this thing that was just like this pure creative vision that they had that like saw its fruition in like a feature-length film practically or something, you know what I mean? And I mean, I know it happened, but it felt very much more like a like canned entertainment when we were growing up to like, Madonna or something like that. It all just felt like I'm inventing a persona for this video or whatever. And there's just something about it that I guess it's the accessibility of like somebody like Lady Gaga or something like that, but it all feels like more artistically driven by the artists themselves. And like you really get that from Beyonce because it's like as she's built on her career, she's like you said, like the new album is just like so different from what she would ever have done. And like there's kind of also power in that from like a female artist standpoint. But yeah, I think that that's probably just like me growing up and like seeing it firsthand and being like, oh, I feel like I know this person, you know what I mean, rather than like growing up and being like, Madonna might as well be Princess Diana, you know what I mean? They're all just people I see on the television.
And now Madonna, we have too much access to Madonna. She's given us too much access to her.
Yeah, that is a weird example I chose.
Well, no, it's just funny because I feel like that when you think of like iconic people, it is the people we tend to know the least about, because once you start knowing too much about people, that's when you start finding bad things about them, and that's when you start really holding on to like this person did this negative thing, and it might have just been the one thing, and that's like enough.
Exactly. And then because there's like these PR firestorms that you like can't escape from. For whatever reason, that just made me think of Matthew McConaughey's latest ventures. Have you been seeing these?
I don't know anything about white men older than 50.
So I lived in Austin for 12 years. Matthew McConaughey's a fixture there. And so it's like when you're listening to the local NPR station and they do like the emergency test or whatever, they're like, it's literally Matthew McConaughey being like, hey, this is a test of the emergency system. And if this
that's
is
my 13th reason. Like I hate that so much. I'm so sorry to have derailed this, but I can't handle it. But okay, Matthew McConaughey whispers to you on a radio.
He's like, if this is a real emergency, McConaughey be done talking, and then blah blah blah. Like, yeah. So he already has this like wildly, like not just inflated but completely uncontested opinion of himself. It seems as some kind of brilliant life guru, right? And so I think I might have seen it a little bit on John Oliver, but I've been seeing it elsewhere too, of just these motivational videos that he's making about like building your life and like becoming a more successful person. And like it's not what you would expect in terms of just like, oh, you know, grind set or whatever. It's like this real abstract, completely unplanned monologue, and he's just walking around what looks like this like kind of like 90s America's Funniest Home Videos kind of set, you know?
Okay, he's on a set.
He's on a set.
He's on a set, okay.
Yeah, and it might as well be like his own weird little church, but like no one else is there. It's bizarre. And I'm just like, how do you get here? Like, Johnny Depp isn't even here. Well, you're here. Phenomenal how fame can like detach people from all reality. And like, you know what? I bet he thinks he's just killing it.
I think Gwyneth Paltrow is like on the same realm of just like, what do you think is, have you touched grass recently? Like, it's like, just have you, and I kind of like hate that terminology, but like, you're floating so high. That's what I mean. You can see the grass. You're eating 7 gallons of it a day. But you're like, have you touched it? Right. What's that feel like? What's reality?
There was an amazing video that, it was Drew Gooden and Danny Gonzalez did on the Jeremy Renner app.
Oh, I watched that.
Shit, that was so funny! I've watched it several times.
Well, he's like, earn Jeremy stars to like gain access to it. It's so strange.
It's so weird. It's so weird and so awesome and so stupid. And it's Jeremy Renner. I mean, I don't really know if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. But like, if you get it, you know. You look at Jeremy Renner and you're like, him?
Right. But like, also, if even like lining up all the Avengers, if a person had an app, it's not him. It's like, he's not who I'm picking out of that lineup to like follow so diligently that they through their own app.
Yeah, like, you know, it's like you're like, oh, finally, justice for an average guy. That's what I wanted. That guy deserves everything he wanted, because average guys don't get what they want enough, you know?
It's like really hard for them, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, especially the ones that aren't as good looking as Brad Pitt, you know what I mean? Like, who's gonna like him on social media? He has to make his own social media platform. It's literally, but for y'all, those playing along at home, it is literally Instagram, but only Jeremy Renner pictures. Right. He's the only one allowed to post. You have to comment, and in order to interact, you have to use Jeremy stars.
Exactly.
That you have to buy.
That's the killer. That was the gag. When it's like, it costs this much
to try and be noticed by Senpai. And by the way, I don't think he's that interesting of a person in the first place.
If you're talented enough, you'll get noticed by the people you want to get noticed by.
That's the damn truth, okay?
Just saying.
Just get out there. That's the best way to attract the right kind of attention, is go out there and be the kind of person you want to attract.
Not Jeremy Renner for me.
Like, that's the thing is, you know, we're talking about texture and color, right?
Yeah.
When I think of Jeremy Renner, I'm like, oh, I think about it in these terms. Like, I really think, like, flat, kind of recycled piece of paper.
Yeah, like beige.
Beige. Yeah. Beige. It's one of those, like, pieces of paper that in school they would pass them out because, like, this piece of art was going to get thrown away later.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It wasn't, like, the nice stock, you know?
Right,
and they
exactly.
were like, it's kind of not that fun to color on, and it's really hard to erase on. That's Jeremy Renner as, like, a texture and color.
I have another
I think
question.
we tapped into my, like, weird sense.
I love it. I love it. I'm waiting for you to be like, I have synesthesia, and I'm going to be like, bye.
I am a super taster. That's my most insufferable trait.
Ah! Is it that?
No!
That's it?
Yes, Tom. Did you want to argue? Did you want to offer up a counterpoint?
No.
Because that happened to me on Instagram. I said something like, this is my worst piece of content. My friend Carissa, the CEO of Thread, goes, this is not your worst piece of content. I said, are you thinking of something specific? She's like, yes! I still don't know what.
See, this is why you can't say things like that, because then someone's going to be like, well, you know.
Well. But it brings out the feral, which I really like. Because, like, no, I don't know if people know how feral Carissa is. That girl is, she's unhinged. I'm obsessed with her. Being around her, she's just, like, right there on that same energy. She goes, I went on Gary Vee for, like, you know, my, like, a podcast interview or whatever today. She goes, I don't even know what I said. I just blacked out.
That is perfect energy.
Yeah, not like drug blackout or anything, like, but she just kind of like goes into a zone, I guess is my point. I don't want to speak ill of her, but yeah, it's very funny.
We've all done it.
Exactly. And you're like, oh, I guess I'll figure out what I said later.
Yeah. It's like when you do a job interview, it's like, you're like, what happened?
Yeah.
In there.
Yeah.
Like, what happened?
No, and it's hilarious because like you'll like not get the job and then they'll tell you why and they're like, you said this one thing and I read that to mean this, and you're like, did I say that?
Basically, interviews are just me shit talking my previous jobs.
Absolutely.
Like
but I mean, we talked about this before too, how like there are so many times, like I actually don't really mind editing my videos. Like it's not the worst part of my day.
Oh, yeah.
Because A, I think that most of it's funny, and B, I am watching myself, especially after filming for like an hour and a half a lot of times and trying to edit it down. I go, what am I off on?
Yeah.
What the hell am I talking about? When did I say that? Like, that's my mouth moving and that's the sound of my voice, but like, fuck if I know where I was. Like,
anytime I try to talk while putting on mascara, that's where things take a turn, and it almost always gets edited out.
No, it takes practice, especially with like the really tedious stuff, because you'll be looking at your like waveform of your audio, and it's just like word silence, word silence, and you're like, God, I hate editing this so much because it's just me finding one goddamn word at a time, and once I've strung them all together, it didn't make sense anyway.
That's the best word. Like the sentence took a turn halfway
like,
through,
what?
but it was also a 5-minute long sentence.
Yes, you're like, I can't use any of this.
But you were like really trying. In
the moment, you really thought you were saying something.
You're like, this is really pertinent. Let me just say it. And I said it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You're like, I mean, I feel like I could use this time. I really feel like I don't want to waste anybody's time watching me put my mascara on. So like, I want to make sure I keep the conversation going and say something really useful. And then you watch it after the fact and you're like, yeah, I gotta delete all that.
I normally start it with like a question.
Yeah.
That I don't answer, and it's a stupid. It's like it made a lot of sense as I was thinking it, but then watching it back, I'm like, I don't even remember where I was trying to take that.
Yeah, and there's like a clean cut on either end where you're like, if I take this out, no one will know.
Yeah, exactly.
No one will know I got off on this tangent because I looped right back around to myself, kept on going, and like the clean cut.
Rebecca has a question for you.
Okay.
Opinions on Crocs.
Okay, this is so controversial, right? Like, everybody's just like hardline anti-Crocs. There are so many people who are hardline anti-Crocs.
They are controversial.
Okay, this is endearing to me because my mother loves them so much. It's become a thing with Gen Z and the teens. They are really into them. I see, honestly, best I can tell, like straight white dudes, age 16, 17, rocking their Crockin', you know what I mean? With their little like embellishments on it and everything.
The gibbets.
Yeah, is that what they're called? Or did you
They're called gibbets. No, I think they're called gibbets, yeah.
That's so close to giblets. I don't love that. Why did they do some kind of pun having to do with a croc, like a crocodile of some persuasion? I don't know what it would have been.
Croc tops.
A croc top. We love a crop top. Why
Gibbets.
not a croc top?
Gibbitz, the official Crocs website. Gibbets.
You know that was a completely polarized boardroom. When they were like, what are we going to call them? They're like, gibbets. And they're like, like there was like one vote. And they were just like, fucking Jerry. You know what I mean? Now they're gibbets.
That person probably doesn't even work for the company anymore. And they're just too into it. They're too far into it.
They're just like... I actually am like pro Crocs for other people's self-expression. I'm not just trying to like pander to the masses here. I kind of think that like, okay, so here's like me and looping back to Ted, right? We've talked at length, Ted and I, Buffalo Beauty Boy, for those who don't follow him. We've talked at length about how like something could be terrible, but if the Olsen twins wore it, you'd be like,
The Row. I mean...
like, if The Row did a collab with Crocs, and they still looked like Crocs, but they were, like, The Row Crocs, you'd be like...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like I can't rule it out completely because I like irony so much.
Yes.
And so it's like, I think that if you are the kind of person who doesn't like a lot of friction in an outfit, or doesn't like something that's truly kind of ugly on purpose, then I totally understand just being like offended by them and not getting it. You know what I mean? But
right.
but am I going to buy something that is like, sweaty feet? Absolutely not, and I'm not going to wear socks with them either. Like, it's just not my personal vibe. I'm not going to say never, because like I said, if the rope put out Crocs, I'd probably check them out. But also, like, I love that. I love the juxtaposition and the irony of being like, what if someone really tried to solve Crocs and make them high fashion, which they probably already have in some persuasion.
Someone made like a really incredibly high platformed Croc, like a designer, like Valentino or someone did that one year.
It would have to be very comfortable. I'm still Amy Smilovic devotee of just like, if you're going to give me something ironic, I still need it to be really comfortable. Like, she's going to go out and pay $1,000 for like a pair of Gucci Adidas Sambas because they're just a different colorway. And I mean, she's got the means. But like, it's kind of just like that irony of being like, yes, this is like a ridiculously high-end version of just like basically a soccer shoe that every kid, every dude I went to school with in elementary school wore all the time. I have to say, I'm kind of like pro Croc in the sense of it being something that's in your repertoire. Like, if you want it to be in your repertoire, you deserve to have Crocs as a means of self-expression, if only purely because they are so unpalatable.
I'm with you. Not that they asked me about Crocs, but I have these shoes.
It's our
called
podcast. Fuck it.
They're called native brand shoes, but they're like essentially Crocs that have been redesigned as flats. They're pointy toe flats, and I love them.
Yeah.
I wear them all year. I wear them all summer. They're my favorite shoe. They're comfortable, and they're my favorite.
One of my favorite ugly pairs of shoes that I have is actually from a company called United Nude, and they truly, on purpose, make like ugly shoes. Like, and I think that most of them are awesome. I bought the ones that are probably the most like practical outside of like the sneakers or whatever, but they're the most comfortable sandals I've ever worn. They're amazing. And I'm just like, you know what? Y'all nailed it. Like, it's kind of a 2 out of 3 thing. It's like, is it like elegant? Is it comfortable? Is it cool? And it's like, you got comfortable and cool. It's not elegant, but like, I can elegant the rest of my outfit. And I personally, me and Kelly were talking about this, Kelly Gooch. She says like there's an outfit, like it's what she likes about outfits. It's what she likes about people she's attracted to. It's like, being purely just beautiful isn't enough. You have to be like beautiful with something kind of off, like a little bit of friction in some way or another. And like, I think that's fucking awesome. It's also why I always tell her that she is like the least derivative person that I've ever, like, it's kind of subtle and sneaky, but when you're talking to her, you realize that she is her own muse all the time. Like, she truly like lives in her own paradigm. She's going to make the visual aesthetic choices that she makes based on her, like what she likes. And like, it's funny because you look at her and you're like, oh, that's a Disney princess. You know what I mean? It's very easy for her to be pretty. It's very easy for her to pull off trends. It's very easy for her to like look awesome. And then it's like, she's just out like, instead she's thrifting. She's like doing cool stuff with her hair. She's trying different things with her makeup and stuff like that. And I'm always just like, you're so much like, I don't know. She just doesn't, she's not, she's never like copying anyone. And I love that.
Yeah. There's a lot of parts that make her up, right? It's just like, she's just, I think we see a very specific side of people on the internet, and Kelly's probably a very good example of like, we don't know the whole story, which is good, right? We shouldn't, and that's like how it should be. Yeah,
no, she's just one of those people that I love talking to for that reason, because like, she just has like a really cool mind. And I think that's like what attracts me. That's like what has attracted this entire kind of like group of people on this platform that like I feel so akin to. It's not just that we're like the same. It's that like we all find each other really inspiring in different ways, I really took that to a sentimental place, didn't I? Time to go cry to Mitski. Should I pull out my surprise now?
Sure.
Not that we're done, but like.
But you brought it up.
I brought the Jim Bobs.
No!
They want to charge me to return them. And so I'm like, I don't think they look good on me. And I'm just dragging my feet on returning them. And so I just want to show them to you. I'm very excited. Should I unplug my headphones? I feel like we're in a tenuous place here, but.
I like them. I like them a lot.
Really?
I think we just talked about Crocs.
This is true. They add friction. I just think that like I have this thing in my head about like I think I look good in all glasses, like and like these don't look good on me, and so I have a chip on my shoulder about it.
No, this aesthetic, I could see it makes sense. I see you in one of your blue striped tops with a flowy pant and a sandal, and it works. It works.
It does not work with headphones on, but
No, glasses don't love a headphone.
no, they don't. They really don't. Yeah, if I were blind, I would be currently blind because I like never wear my glasses anymore. So, but yeah, so you think I should just hold on to them? You think they're cool?
I think you can make them work. I just think that they are a lot. I just think that you probably put them on and you were like, no, like a hard no immediately. And I don't think that they're a hard no. I think they're fun.
Well, let us know in the comments what you think of the Jim Bob. So the idea of this was just the fact that I sent Tom these glasses because I was like, these are cool. And then Tom was like, why are they called Jim Bob? And like never left that train of thought. Like,
no, I couldn't comment on the glasses. I was just like, why are they called the Jim Bobs?
And then you went into the Jim Bob voice.
Jim Bob down around the corner. Like, you got really good sunglasses.
Some people are ugly criers. I am an ugly laugher sometimes. Oh my god, that shit gets me so bad.
And then we never talked about the glasses after that too.
Right.
So not that I was trying to avoid it, but like it was a really
oh no, I felt so ashamed. I was like, well, I maybe shouldn't have tried anything that was called the Jim Bob, so I guess this is all my fault.
I'm that person who will see something or notice something so hyper specific and I cannot let it go. Like it will bother me for the rest of time. So like I would have seen that they were called Jim Bob and they could have been my ideal sunglasses. Like the ones that I've been searching for the 32 years I've been alive. And then I would still be like, oh, they're called the Jim Bob. And not that anyone else in the fucking world would know that they were called Jim Bobs after I started wearing them. But I'd be like, I can't. It would hurt me. It hurt me on the inside. I can't do it.
And see, it's not even that I disregard the fact that they're called Jim Bob. It's that doesn't bother me. I'm from North Florida. I know some very nice Jim Bobs.
I could lean over and touch West Virginia, so I'm sure I can find a Jim Bob real fast.
Throw rock, you find a Jim Bob.
So I'm not trying to say.
My name is James Robert. That's Mr. Jim Bob to you.
Me doing mental math. I'm like, no, we cannot trust this person. Their name is Jim Bob.
The glasses are okay, apparently.
I think they're cute.
But no,
they're a vibe.
Well, I'll try and style them and we'll see. Because I really don't want to pay to return. That's the stupid thing. I hate when they, and this is the company that I got the Evil Eye earrings from, that every time I wear them, everybody just like freaks out and asks where they're from. And I was like, I want to keep, expanding my collection. I want to trust this brand. But these are a little bit different. They're just a little bit friction. But I should say, one thing that is one of my favorite things about Tom is when something does trigger a voice from Tom. When Tom decides that they're going to do some kind of impression or just like something from their soul. It's not necessarily an impression of someone. It just becomes this like new persona. One of the greatest gifts of our friendship, because you never know. You never know when it's coming.
One time in the middle of a sentence, I started speaking like Moira Rose, and then just for the rest of the message, talk like Moira Rose. And Kathy was just like, what the fuck? Just like, why were you...
But like, I just kept listening to it because it was such a good Moira Rose impression. And then one time, Tom was just like, by the way, I can do the entire World Juror monologue from 30 Rock.
Yes. It is one of my... I was like, bet you didn't... I don't know what even prompted. I was like, bet you didn't know I could do this. And then I just proceeded to do it.
When I watch you do like a full, Busta Rhymes or something and like leave it in the video, I'm like, that's my friend! I know that's my friend!
Thank you so much, because no one said anything about that. And I was like, ah!
I sent it to Kaima. I literally took the clip, made it into a short, and sent it to Kaima. I was like, this is important! It's a cultural touchstone!
I was so mad that I was like, I did the whole thing!
It's like, I got none of it. I mean, I got it, but like I retained none of it. But like I was just really impressed.
Yeah, I'm also a rapper.
They're
fun thing about
multifaceted.
I have so many skills and talents, and they just, you find the layer whenever it finds you. Like it's not like I can offer it up because these are things that I don't think about, and then you just experience them, and then when I watch people's faces as they experience them for the first time, that is always where I'm like, I gotcha. You didn't think I was gonna have anything good for you, but I found it.
Yes, I have the entire Jabberwocky committed to memory. You wouldn't have known unless we were right here, right now. my dad made me learn it on a car ride one time.
Good for you.
Yeah. Yep.
There you
It's
go.
kind of like Hannah can just talk in iambic pentameter. You're just like,
That child is gonna talk in iambic pentameter.
oh
I
my
already
God.
said.
You're so right. That's so funny. That child. She has told me some of her, like just the brainstormy names or whatever, and I don't remember any of them specifically, and they haven't like landed on one yet.
Mhm.
But the ones that she has shared with me, I'm like, oh, the voice of their generation.
Exactly.
Like these are the names of people who will be like great authors. You know what I mean? This is just kind of the person who is going to like, that's a name on a book cover, forever. So, yeah, I'm very looking forward to it. Say it. Oh, I thought you were going to say I'm following their future career with great interest. That's a Hannah-ism.
I'm always following her career with great interest.
Yeah, but I mean the baby. Yeah.
Well, also the baby.
Yeah.
See, I always view it as the parent first. Like the child is not as important to me as like the parent who do you know what I mean? Like, connected to. So like the reason I have a relationship with Tiffany's child is because I have a relationship with Tiffany. But like, I don't particularly care about the child.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
well, I mean, that's because they're not totally, like, into their, like, personhood yet. You haven't gotten to decide what, like, that's people are always like, oh, you don't like kids. You know, like, when I was doing hair, and I was like, it's not that I don't like kids, it's that kids are just people, and I take people on a case-by-case basis.
Exactly. It's exactly that.
Yeah. Like, there are kids, and they might grow out of it, but there are kids that they're an asshole. You know what I mean? Like, that kid's an asshole. And because it's a person. There's reasons, and they're young, and that's a pretty good reason, but they're still an asshole, and they can get better.
Right, and that's why my tolerance is low.
Right, exactly.
Because I can't talk them through it, and I can't be like, you're being very unreasonable right now. Because that means nothing to them.
Yeah. I will say, not to get into too much, like, early childhood development, but, like, my guy, he's pushing 3, and, like, we're getting there. We're getting there to that, like, relief point of just, like, hey, here's some nuance. And he's like, oh, it's the best, because it's like, I don't know, 6 months ago you were like, we don't have that flavor of yogurt, and he's like, cool, I'm gonna burn the house down. And now it's like, we don't have that flavor of yogurt, and he's like, cool, I guess I'll wait for the next grocery run.
I loved whenever he like didn't finish his food the one night and you're like, can I finish it? And he was like, I'm done.
I'm done. And then you took it to the kitchen.
I was like crying. I was laughing so hard. And you were like, I don't know where to go from here.
It's like, done, Mom. Yeah. Done. Yeah. I'm done. So, yeah, the other day it was typical, like, toddler things where his dad had been cutting his strawberries into these, like, medallion shapes instead of, like, long ways. And I was like, yeah, but he can choke on those really easily, so I'm going to go back to cutting them my way. And then he wouldn't eat them. And I was like, come on, man.
This is the kind of chaos I hope to ensue whenever the child lives with us.
It's soon, right?
At the end of the week. Yeah.
We're going to have so many stories to share.
Listen, I'm going to have child problems for the first time in my life, so I'm going to have a lot to say.
Yeah, you're going to have, like, kids in your cabinets. Well, just the one. But yeah, like, you know, kid hands in your makeup and stuff. I'll tell you, we've taught Simon to marvel. So it's like if something's really pretty, you open up a piece of makeup or something, we open it up, we look at it, and we go, wow.
At this juncture, he does not have access to my room, so he'll have to learn that with...
They love to rip plants apart and stuff like that. It's like, no, we marvel. We look at it, we appreciate it, and we say, wow.
Right now, we're basically at, well, and then we throw them at you, so.
Yeah, I forgot. It's like 18 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about to be really, I mean, you're always in the thick of it, but it is going to be in the thick of it, mainly of, I say testing their physical boundaries. At least that's how my guy is.
Oh, Tiffany's house right now, the barricades that have been wire tied up into weird places.
Yeah. Yeah, it all becomes very negotiable as soon as they get tall enough to start opening doors, and you're like, oh, no. Now what?
It always seems to happen, like, randomly out of nowhere. It's like, he, like, didn't climb on the couch until all of a sudden he was climbing onto the couch. And he was like, when did we learn there was nothing that preceded this to, like, warn me? We just now can do that? What do you mean?
The other day we were just sitting there and, like, he just was, like, on the couch, and he just took a header off of it, and you just see his legs fly over him. And, like, at this age, you kind of turn your head, you go, are you good? Because it's like you're kind of waiting. It's like emergency room or no. Right. Like, you know, and like lately he's just been good. He's just kind of a kamikaze child.
Well, I think that's enough. Did your parents give you good content? Did you enjoy the content?
Did we do okay, y'all? I don't know if y'all got to know us any better learning about our opinions on our personal textures or our opinions on long Furbies. But,
or Beyonce or Crocs.
Yeah, so maybe if you felt dissatisfied by the information in this episode, you can leave comments underneath on Patreon and let us know what you really want to know, what the juicy bits are.
Yeah, you could. I was trying to encourage us, like, don't ask about makeup. Just ask about something interesting. And we got some good questions. They were very out of left field, though. They went real left.
Expository, as you might say.
Yeah, I'm sure a psychoanalyst could look at all of what we just said and learn and extrapolate a lot.
Yeah.
But
some Rorschach shit. GPOY. Sorry, that's a Tumblrism. You remember GPOY, right?
I forget what it stands for. I remember it, though. Like
gratuitous picture of yourself. GPOY Wednesday.
Was it always Wednesday?
It was always Wednesday. There was like an assignment for every day, and GPOY was Wednesdays. I want to bring it back. I want to bring it back on Instagram, although I post gratuitous pictures of myself constantly. It's my job.
I'm pretty sure on my original Tumblr, my GPOYs were like pictures of my ass. So it was like gratuitous pictures of
Got it.
Oh,
y'all stay till the end because you could learn something even more about Tom.
Well, I mean,
don't talk out early.
Listen, I've been naked in a magazine before, so I'm very free with my body. So,
wow.
See, these are the kind of questions you could ask, but you didn't. So I'm gonna leave it there. You'll never know.
Except unless it's next week. But you're not gonna know right now.
Not today.
Exactly, not today, Satan.
Anyway, thank you all so much for listening and enjoying I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. You guys seem to be having a lot of fun. We're having fun making it too. So
yes, and we love you very much.
We do. Okay, bye.
Bye.